Hello and welcome back, my valued viewers. Today we've got Star Citizen's insurance problem by a gentleman called Forrester. It looks like a little older video, a little less than a month old, but I wanted to cover this video because it was in the recommendations on Discord by one of our guys, and Salty Mike actually brought this up on the podcast I had with him a few days ago. If you didn't watch that, make sure you did. It's a banger. But he mentioned that one of the future mechanics that will really have a gigantic impact on the economy in the game will be the insurance, yeah? So that is why I wanted to cover this and get a look at it. I think he's right. I think insurance is clearly tied to death in this game, and we've been promised death of a spaceman, so like some brutal death experience. And I think the slider to how hardcore this game is going to be will scale directly with how brutal insurance mechanics tend to be. So, you know, if it takes days to weeks for an insurance claim of our ship to go through, then that means we need to have multiple ships, and so on and so on. I really like the idea of that because I do want losing to feel brutal so that winning feels amazing. Yeah, like you have to have that balance. In my opinion, it needs to be dreadful to lose, to justify feeling great. Otherwise, the game kind of feels empty, I believe. So either way, it's such an important topic that talking about 1.0 release, we're getting a second system. The game is getting more polished with the Squadron 42 mechanics coming in and systems. So it probably is time that insurance gets reviewed, right? Anyways, let's crack into this and see what we think.
If you're a big...
And make sure you comment and like, okay, the video to help me finesse the algo, yeah? Help your boy out.
Star Citizen player, you probably have a good idea of the lengths to which people will go to in order to chase LTI on their packages, the holy grail of lifetime insurance that may protect your real-world purchase in the game world.
Okay, for one, the F8 is still the best looking ship. My god, it's still the best looking ship. But yeah, the thing is, LTI, you forget about it, yeah? Like, new backers think about LTI. If you've been playing this game for longer than 2 years, you stopped caring like I did. Like, it doesn't mean anything anymore. It's fairy dust, boys. Don't care about LTI, okay? Just don't. And even if you do, all it is to bypass the economy, and we're not weaklings like that, are we? So, nah.
But of course, the risk of the insurance model is that potentially means that real-world purchases might end up in in-game situations in which they're not protected. I'm Forrester, and this video will explore why that's potentially a ticking time bomb for Star Citizen. The developers have been very quiet on the issue of insurance, at least in recent times. Go back to 2012 and there's an article on the Star Citizen website all about insurance, how it'll work, and how it'll protect original backers with lifetime insurance. The article talks about how all ships would have in-game insurance, and those who backed first would have a little perk of lifetime insurance for their ship, which was mostly a minor convenience in not having to pay those in-game costs.
Oh, if it bypasses the entire thing? Okay, like, if it bypasses in-game cost entirely because you bought it with USD, okay, maybe. But as long as you're not just instantly claiming the ship. Like, the suffering needs to be a pair of two for losing, right? Is the ship gets destroyed, so you have to pay to get it back, whether that's an insurance claim, and you have to share the price with the, insuree, and time, like time served. How long is this thing until you get your brand new claimed ship? It's a two pair. So if the fact that you've lost your ship and you get the ship back instantly and then it was free also, then that would be terrible. But if we're getting LTI and it covers the cost, but we still have to wait the time, then I'd be happy. But I hate the. Someone said this in my comments in the last video. They feel like the game is so bubble wrapped nowadays, and I agree. Like, it's too soft, too cushiony. Like, let's make winning feel the best thing ever. You know, dopamine at the wazoo, and then make losing feel dreadful. Yeah, like I think they need to capture those emotions now. Like, we are playing a pretty hardcore game, boys. Like, whether people want to admit it or not, you're in a full loot game. You are absolutely in a full loot game. The only issue is loot doesn't matter, and they need to make loot and like what we're investing in and bringing to the table on our accounts matter. As soon as they do that, you're living in a hardcore game, and I love that. Like, I love that they went that direction. I think it's so based, it's so good. It's going to be such a long-lasting game, but it needs to be brutal on that aspect. And I do worry about like LTI insurance. Just does that take the hardcore aspect out of losing? I don't know.
The article goes on to say that insurance policies sold with ships will begin to have a timer attached, and that uninsured ships lost in-game would need to be repurchased with in-game currency.
Yeah, it's an outdated as hell article, but and to be honest, I kind of like that, like how brutal that sounds. I kind of really do like that. Which just means don't fly unless you're insured, and then insured being a great money sink, that'd be great. Like, oh man, it's time for money sinks. Like, just thinking about if this was the case, the economy would be 5 times more interesting immediately. Like, imagine right now, if you don't insure your ships, you lose them forever. Holy shit, this game would be so good. Just straight off the bat right now. You know, and if you bought it with real life money, start the timer. You bought 6 months insurance with your ship. Okay, you got 6 months, and then you need to start putting up UEC before you do it. But my god, that immediately sounds so much better than what we've got, because the game has no consequence. There's no soul to this. Like, the worst thing we can lose is subscriber gear that means nothing. Like, it's time to start losing, man. Like, it really is, in my opinion.
In other words, ships bought with real money that are destroyed without a game insurance in place would be lost.
Could you imagine how good it would be? Oh my god. Oh, this would be the best game in the world if that was the case.
Now, this is where things get tricky, because clearly the idea of players spending hundreds of dollars on virtual spaceships that could potentially be destroyed in-game, and if that happened with those ships in an uninsured state, that cash lost permanently, is a frightening prospect. That's why many players chase packages with LTI or lifetime insurance to know that the money they spend out of game is to some extent protected for as long as they play in-game. Whilst the idea of having a cost to insure your ship in-game to cover the risk of loss does make sense from a gameplay perspective, the risk of losing your real money purchase makes less sense. And whilst none of this matters in-game,
like, if you got warnings, like, before you call your ship, this ship is not insured, you will lose it if you die. Insure for X amount, and X amount being significant, yeah? Not like too much, but a big deal. Yeah, and then maybe it scales to how lethal your ship is and how much modifications away from the stock ship, you know, could scale up the price. But, my god, it sounds so good. And if you do that, man, oh, you could never call Star Citizen a scam again. Like, that would be it. Like, that, you'd never be able to call it a scam again. Oh, man. I crave this so much. Maybe I'm just a psychopath, like, hardcore degenerate. But, oh, it would be the best game ever. Like, you bought, like, my gosh, Spectrum would be on fire, but oh my Lanta, it would be the best thing. Oh, I want this so bad, boys. I want this so bad. Brutal Game of Thrones. Death of a Spaceman, PvP, PvE, the whole shebang. Oh my lord, it would be great.
Yet, while Star Citizen is still in alpha testing, this issue that the developers have been so silent on for some time is a ticking time bomb. The moment that somebody loses their $900 space yacht permanently because they didn't buy insurance in-game, well, you can just...
Dude, this is the stuff that gets on Kotaku articles. This is the stuff that people's videos cut. Like, imagine if it cost the Daymar Rally 500 million UEC in ships just for the security effort, and say it gets attacked like it generally does every year, and it turns out that the costing of the Daymar Rally at the end of the day was 500 million. They lost 500 million worth in ships. This is like some Eve shit. This is so good. They desperately need to make this, I think. And the worst thing is, I know you guys are going to roast me about this in the comments, okay? Look, type 123, okay? Type 123 in the comments section if you're not soft, okay? If you're not a soft little teddy bear and you want this as well as I do, okay? Like, here's the thing. I'm slowly molding my viewership to be like some hardcore killers, some hardcore degenerate gamers is what I'm hoping you guys turn it to be. So like some real brutal understanding of space games. And the sad thing is, like, I know a lot of you guys aren't, but it's cool, man. It's so cool. This is the stuff people talk about. They don't talk about, your 890 crashing into an asteroid, or your carrot got killed at Xeno Threat, or your caterpillar dying to NPCs, or just like some low-level piracy hit. They're not going to talk about it until it means something. And for it to mean something, you need to lose it. Or losing it needs to be possible. Or the act of losing it, even if you have insurance, needs to sting. Sting badly. Then it starts to get talked about. Then when you watch a streamer, you're sweating there watching them possibly lose everything. Then narrative comes into the game, life comes into the game. Oh, it'd be so good. But nothing matters right now, and I can't stand that. Like, I really can't. I'm so ready for this to become a game. Okay? And please don't comment that it's an alpha or at year 12 and they're trying to get out of alpha, right? But give me a 1, 2, 3 if you're with me on this, yeah?
Imagine how the news outlets would jump on that. The other elephant in the room is that of insurance inflation. Back in 2012, the original backers all got lifetime insurance on ships purchased to that point, but new packages from then came with a set insurance term on them, starting at about 2 months of in-game insurance coverage. Since that point, the amount of insurance included in different bundles has increased during strategic events through the years, like the anniversary intergalactic aerospace in November, and most recently, that's upwards of 10 years attached. If you bought the same ship in 2012, you might have 2 months attached, versus today, it might be 10 years. Whilst often the price of game packages has gone up in that time, clearly the difference in the level of in-game protection for that is notable. Another unknown within this all is the future of Star Citizen's funding model. Clearly, whilst in development, a key pillar of that game funding is driven by ship sales, with many players often buying multiple ships.
And here's the thing, like, counterpoint to my own argument, right? How do you convince people to keep buying ships if they know they can lose them? Buying ships in Star Citizen, you often have them for years and years and years, and you never lose them. In EVE Online, if you buy ISK, which is like UEC, and then you spend that on a ship, you can lose that the moment you leave the hangar, like forever. So yeah, that's the issue too, right? Does that affect their income? Are they willing to make this the best game in my eyes ever if they do this? Probably not, because it's going to affect the funding. But if they make the insurance mechanic clever enough, then it could happen now. Like, big warnings. Are you going to call this ship out without insurance? You will lose it. You know, you hop into the ship. It says uninsured in the top right corner. You know, and insuring a ship is, you know, like you pay for it in game. You can buy a year worth of insurance on your ship, and that could cost, I don't know, maybe 300,000 UEC. And then every time you die, to claim it, you're looking at 150,000, because an insurance company is going to cover the entire costs, and it depends on how you lost the ship to which how much they are going to cover, right? But you could make the insurance system so in your face important that you could then introduce like death of a spaceship, right? When it's not insured. Oh my god, it would be good. But these are like great ideas to add money sinks to the economy, which do not exist and need to exist as soon as possible. Me and Salty Mike on the podcast I did a couple days ago, we very much spoke about the economy a lot, and money sinks is the biggest problem. And we don't need that later. And I know some guys, what, no point in having an economy in alpha. No, we need it now. Like, we need it now. It needs to start feeling like a MMO game where we care about the economy in the testing phase, if we're going to be testing toilet gameplay pretty soon here. Yeah. So we got all these missions, all these trades, these career paths, and they all tie to the economy. It's time to have one. And to do that, money sinks. So I'm so hopeful that they do this.
And to some extent, that's supported by the inflation of insurance offerings, with players often choosing to change ship, play the CCU game, or even purchase with riskier person-to-person sellers in order to chase higher insurance protections or the lifetime insurance. But once development of the game finishes, there will need to be some consideration to the funding model, whether that will be through further ship sales, cosmetics, in-game currency, Squadron 42 campaign sales, or even more scarily for many, the dreaded monthly subscription model.
I think, no, not the dreaded, I love the idea of a monthly subscription model. I love it. If it means that we're pivoting away from selling spaceships. But you don't, like, I don't think you can get selling spaceships back into the jar. But what you could do is add death of a spaceship with insurance, right? And then sell skins. The reason they're selling us these terrible looking skins with these really bland colors is because they're setting the economy, the USD price tag on good skins. By selling you guys the $5 to $10 skins that look really average, they're setting you up for the, you know, all black chromed out skins that are going to cost way more than that. But the only question is, can you move the funding model over to that and make anywhere near the amount of money you've been making from selling spaceships? I doubt it. So I just don't think it's possible. But a spaceship can be, you know, nothing in comparison to a modified spaceship. And that's where I believe like ship sales can still exist. If you look at someone's ship and you go, damn, that thing is modded out. And because it's modded out is why it is now twice as good as the stock version, then I'd be super happy. You know, say you got really expensive weapons, really expensive ship components, you've got a skin on it, a really heavily engineered and modified quantum drive, and before you know it, you turned a 2 million UEC ship into a 10 million UEC ship. Then the fact that you can buy that ship for a third of its worth, unmodified, just stock, and it only be that good would be fine, because that's not the big deal. The big deal is the modifications. But if these ships are this strong, straight coming out of stock, fresh off the store, purchased with the USD, then we're in a lot of trouble, I think. So I'm not of the opinion that they have to stop selling spaceships. I'm aware of how we got here, and it's because they got $600 million from this. We need them to make more money, and without the 600 million, we wouldn't be here. The game would be bland as hell. and I'd probably be playing other games. But the scam is what paid for this. I'm understanding of that. But it's time to like move on, right? And introduce a actual UEC economy, introduce actual winning and losing. This insurance needs to be an actual discussion and actual mechanics in the game that means something. Because right now, LTI, 6-month insurance, all that means nothing. No one cares. Nobody cares. The only guys that care are the new backers that are buying their ships for the first time in the last few years. And they believe they're setting themselves up for the future. And then there's all the rest of us who have been here a decade who stopped caring after the second year. You know, when it came to our purchasing of ships. I do not track my LTIs at all, guys. I got a bunch of them, sure, but I don't track it, don't care about it. I plan on being pretty UEC rich because I want to play the game hardcore anyway, and I don't care to skip that. If anything, I want that to exist. So, but man, what a cool video.
Perhaps ship insurance will play some role in that future funding model. Regardless, the unknown quantity of what will happen with in-game insurance creates a bit of a burning platform, both for players and for the game itself. Perhaps it is for this reason that the Star Citizen team have been intentionally quiet on the subject of in-game insurance for out-of-game purchases. Perhaps the historic sales over the last 12 years have burrowed so far down the rabbit hole that players are already committed to purchases based on insurance. But equally, it's quite a scary prospect for a game studio to openly publicize that hundreds of dollars of player purchases could be at risk within months of the game launch.
Oh man. Oh, it's gonna be the best game ever if they do this. Oh boys, I want this so bad. And I know my viewers hate it, and everyone's gonna thumbs down the video, but fuck it. Like, I want Death of a Spaceship so bad. That's what we're calling it, Death of a Spaceship, okay? I want it so bad. Because watching people's Twitch streams would then become so addictive. Like, I'd love to watch Burks flying around, knowing that if he loses this bounty that he's hunting, and they shoot down his spaceship and kill him in game, it sets him back a lot. Because then you're invested in his skill, you're invested in his performance. Nobody is invested in anyone's performance at anything. Your whole group, your whole organization gets wiped out at Jumptown. How much did it cost all 50 of your players to lose their ships? Maybe 100k? 100k across all 50 of you? Nothing means nothing. You know, like, sorry, everything means nothing right now. But imagine that did mean something. And then imagine, you know, talking about how you had this epic battle with this organization and you threw money at it and you guys lost 300 million that day. Like, you're going to remember that. You're going to talk about that. Does losing suck? Yeah, it does suck. But that's what makes winning feel like the biggest high ever. You know, like, and I want to be emotionally invested in the game. And my God, it just sounds so good. Oh, I did not think I was going to like this video as much. I need to look at who... You know what? Let's check in the Discord, actually. Who was it? Reed, brother. This video is so good, dude. This video is so good.
Of course, if all players fully understand their purchases and decisions, if all players fully understand that insurance means there's a risk of loss for their purchase in game, but decide to purchase anyway, that's a respectable decision made by the individual. But it's possible that what players expect may be different, based on their own interpretation of their spend.
Maybe in high security systems, insurance isn't that costly. Reclaiming your ship isn't that costly. But then you go to null security, insurance claims triple. Yeah, oh man. There's so many ways you can go with this. And don't get me wrong, like, I don't want just the hardcore aspects of the game. I want, like, people looking for the casual experience to be able to find their casual experience. But, you know, just do it in, like, maybe more casual systems or something, yeah? Like, let them... Maybe if you die in PvE, the insurance claim isn't as brutal as dying in PvP. Or, like I said, a null security system in comparison to a low or a high. But, man, like, I know I come across as the hardcore degenerate that just wants Eve 2.0. Sorry, kind of do. But I do want the guys that don't want that to have their section of the playground too. Yeah, like I'm understanding of that, okay? So don't just pigeonhole me in the Eve 2.0, that's all he wants, thing. But I definitely want that experience, the hardcore experience, and then the casual experience can happen in separate locations, yeah?
For example, personally, I'd be pretty comfortable with having 6 months insurance on a $50 pledge, then losing the ship after 6 months, as frankly, that's kind of what I'd pay for a subscription.
Yeah, but no, I don't like this either. I don't like this is too hardcore. You should be able to buy in-game insurance, not just lose it.
For many other MMOs.
But it's going to be costly.
6 months insurance on a $600 package becomes a very expensive subscription, so I'd personally be less comfortable with that. You might argue that the onus is on me as the consumer to fully investigate my purchase, but given that many Star Citizen ships are sold before they're even available to play in-game, never mind about clear, recent and relevant communication of what insurance actually means, at least some responsibility should sit with the seller. Indeed, many jurisdictions might find in favour of the consumer in such instances. Ultimately, there may be things that can be done by the developers in-game to encourage players to pay for their insurance with UEC.
Exactly.
Big warning messages, very clear, hey, you're in an uninsured...
Was I not talking about this? Oh man, yo, this guy's good, and I'm really liking this video and exactly what they should do. Yo, looks like his name is Mojo Monkey. Dope, dude. Good take, brother.
Situation in the ship right now in big red text all over the screen to make it clear that a risky situation is developing and offer an easy solution. Even with that though, you just know there would be players who would ignore it. With all of that, one thing seems likely, that as the mythical Star Citizen release date edges closer to tangibility, this issue may well need to be addressed, either through affirming the statements made back in 2012 and risking media fallout, or by a deviation from that and risking player fallout. Either way, much as with real-life insurance, the end result is likely to leave a bitter taste for somebody. But maybe I'm all wrong, and you think that in-game insurance will have a happy ending. You can let me know if you agree or not in the video comments. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel but would like YouTube to show you more videos like this, you might want to press that button. And if you thought this video was interesting or thought-provoking, then pressing the like button will give me the prompt to make more videos like this in future.
Man, what a cool video. Brother, you earned my subscription. I'm going to comment on this one for sure. Yo, wow, dude. Super good. I'm going to have to watch more of this guy. This is sick. I love this, man. Oh. And it's so nice to hear, because he kind of doesn't, I guess, reveal, what side he sits on with this. But it would just be so special, dudes. Like, and if we lost these ships, if they were capable of losing, or even if there was significant UEC cost, like all paths lead to UEC needs to start mattering, and it needs to start mattering now. Yeah, like, so for the guys that go in my comments and say it's too early for that, no, it ain't. The game sucks until UEC is worthwhile. There's nothing matters. And we need it to matter, and this is the best way for them to make it matter brutally right now, and I love the idea of this. It's sad because they're not going to trigger this, at least the LTI stuff, until launch, but they can start to they should make in-game insurance immediately, in my opinion, and you can't lose it. But you should have to insure your ship, and losing your ship should come with a significant UEC cost. I think that needs to happen now. I'm sure they can differentiate how you died, but man, it would just be so cool. There could be such storytelling all over the game, even with your friends. Like, you and your friends went out to Xenothreat, and you're not looking for the PvP experience, but you're looking for the PvE, and you took out a fleet of Xeno, and then you salvaged all of them for all the USC, and then you lost 5 of your friends on the way. They lost their ships, or brutal hits to their wallets, but you made like a ton of money. Like it's the economy, man. It just could be so cool. What an awesome video. Such a good recommendation, Reed, for mentioning this one in the React channel on Discord. Super cool, dude. Loved this. Loved it. Yo, give me a 4, 5, 6 if you got this far, but give me the 1, 2, 3, okay, if you're down for the brutal death of a spaceship. Within reason, of course, yeah. Insurance being what prevents it. Through the in-game economy. Like, are we not ready to have our ships being destroyed cost significant amounts of UEC? That's what we want, yeah? That's what I want. We being, I guess, the hardcore community or the people I know, but man, it just could be so much better than it is. And this is just the coolest thing ever to me. What an awesome video. Alrighty, that's me. What a weird react. I did not expect to enjoy this video nearly as much as I did, or be as stimulated as I was, but super cool. Boys, I appreciate y'all. Throw me a like and follow the channel, yeah, if you can. And let me know what you think in the comment section. I genuinely want to know what you guys think in the comments, yeah? Like, I really do. Because I want to know, like, am I alone in this? Is it just me who wants the hardcore death of a spaceship experience? Is it just me? I need to know where you guys are at with it, yeah? So let me know. Alrighty, boys. Catch you in the next one. Peace.